Hi friends, welcome back to my Dinners of the Week video number 2. This video follows on from my last 2 videos. The first one being my monthly grocery shop where I show you what I buy for a month for my family from Woolworths, and also what I buy on a fortnightly basis from the fruit and veg shop, so it's fresh throughout the month. So this is the second week of cooking meals with these groceries, plus a few extra meat items from the freezer. So if you haven't seen, I'll link at the end of this video the link to my monthly grocery haul video. This also follows on from the first week of meals. So I filmed what I made in a week. It was mainly a huge freezer meal day and a half that I filmed, and I told you the other meals that I made throughout the week. So this week I have filmed every meal that I made. I've made 5 meals. We had one night where we had our Savior freezer burritos that I made in the last video. So that was dinner one night, which was so good because we could just pop them in the oven from frozen, wrapped in aluminium foil, put the oven on 150 degrees and then leave it in there for a good 45 minutes from frozen, and they warm through really nicely. So that's such an easy meal option for us now if we don't have anything planned or we're busy with our daughter. And then the other night I actually worked at our state election for the whole day. So it was my first day without Lola, and Lola was with my partner Ben for the whole day. So I didn't get home until late that night, so I just had leftovers from the night before, and Ben got himself some takeaway. So tonight is Monday night, and I am making my go-to spaghetti bolognese. This is a staple in our house. I like to make it once a month, and I make a big batch of it so I can have some the next day or freeze some for a meal either the same month or next month. And what I like about this meal, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this, it's one of those dinners I don't have to think much about. All I need is some beef mince and pork mince, which I like to buy in bulk and freeze in 250-gram Ziploc bags. So I can just pull them out of the freezer. All I need is some sort of pasta that's usually in the cupboard. I've usually got a few spare spaghetti and spiral pasta packets in the cupboard. And then just some typical vegetables that I'd have in the fridge or in the pantry. So I like to use, your garlic, onion, carrot. I usually like to put zucchini in the sauce as well, but we didn't have any in the fridge at this time. So instead I used up some of the eggplant that I had in the fridge, which turned out really, really nice. So yeah, it's one of those throw together meals that is just so easy to make. For the tomato sauce part, I like to use some crushed tomatoes, which I usually have in the pantry in cans. On this day though, I still had some of my crushed tomatoes that I made a while back in the freezer. So I used my own crushed tomatoes, which taste so much better than the canned tomatoes. So that turned out really nice. And then some beef stock cubes. And I've always got some vegetable, chicken and beef stock cubes in the cupboard. They're like $1 for a little packet. So I always buy some each month. So yeah, really, really simple. I'm trying to think of what else I put in it. I also put some sugar in, some oregano and some basil, just some dried oregano and basil, and then your salt and pepper, and also some tomato paste. And like I've said in previous videos, I like to buy a big jar of tomato paste, and then whatever I don't use when I first open it, I have got these really nice large ice cube trays from not Woolies, from Kmart. They're like a silicone. So I like to put the tomato paste, portion them into the ice cube trays, and then they pop out really nice and easy because it's silicone. So I've always got some tomato paste in the freezer. So here I am just taking the skin off this eggplant. One vegetable that I find doesn't last very long in the fridge is eggplant. I don't know if anybody listening has any tips on how to store it a little bit better, but the skin here had just gone really brown. It was probably okay to eat, but I didn't want to have to cook it for very long in the pan. So I've just taken the skin off, slicing it up nice and thin, and then I'll be dicing it and putting it in with my onion, carrot, and garlic. Well, I haven't put the garlic in yet, but onion and carrot that's sauteing away in my frying pan behind me. I forgot as well, I also put some bacon in this batch. I really like to put bacon in my spaghetti bolognese when I can. So I've got bacon, pork mince, and beef mince. And I also like to put a bit of chili flakes in too to give it a little bit of spice. So I'm just dicing up the bacon here to get it ready to cook once the vegetables have finished cooking down in the frying pan. Now you'll see me in a minute too. I realise that this frying pan is way too small for the batch that I'm doing. So I've got 750 grams of mince that's going in this and the equivalent of 3 cans of tomatoes. So I've just got my big old trusty stock pot out and I'm just transferring the vegetables into the stock pot. So this has worked out well. So I've transferred the veggies and I'm just going to down this bacon a little bit. And then once the bacon has finished cooking, I will also brown the beef mince and the pork mince. Next time I do this in the pan though, I'm not good at multitasking when I'm cooking, having two things cooking at once. You can see here the vegetables are starting to steam or to smoke a little bit. They're almost burnt in the bottom of this pan because I had forgotten that I had turned it on. So I'll have to make sure I keep an eye on both pans a little bit better next time, but I saved it just in time. Now, this pork mince looks a little bit funny because I forgot to defrost it. So I did a defrost in the microwave, which I don't usually do. I like to use the cold water defrost method. I did that for the beef mince and also the frozen crushed tomatoes that I had in the freezer. So this didn't take long at all to brown before transferring it to a bowl and then cooking the 2 packets of beef mince. I've added all of the meat to the pot now and also the 800 grams of home crushed tomatoes that I defrosted. I'll also add in 3 beef stock cubes, a little bit of sugar, basil, and oregano. Now I'm looking at this pot and thinking I need a little bit more tomatoes in here. So I had a can of canned tomatoes in the cupboard, so I added that in. I'm also going in with my chili. We like our food to be a little bit spicy, so there's a few chili flakes in there. And then, yes, a little bit of sugar and the beef stock cubes, giving them a good stir. And what I found the secret to the spaghetti bolognese is I like to start it in the early afternoon so it can simmer down for a few hours with the lid on. Well, not simmer down because you still want it to be a bit saucy, so adding a bit of water if you need. But I like to just put the lid on and just let it simmer on low. And you can see how the texture and just the appearance of the sauce really changes there just by letting it simmer. I've cooked my spaghetti and now I'm ready to serve up dinner. Now this is the next day I'm filming this. I'm just showing you the leftovers. So this is the second container of pasta with the sauce and the leftover spaghetti from last night. My partner took the other one to work today and it was about the same size. So there's 2 lunches there. This is a whole container of sauce. This is about 4 dinners worth for Ben and I. Well, 2 dinners worth for the 2 of us, so 4 servings. That's going to go in the freezer for next month. So then there's a meal next month that I don't have to think about or cook. Sorry if you can hear the ambulance in the background. And then this one here is just, I was out of containers because I've been putting so much in the freezer. I need to buy some new containers. So if anyone's got a recommendation for some good, affordable, preferably glass containers for the freezer and they can go in the dishwasher and the microwave, please let me know because I'll definitely look into getting them. So what I had to do is just cling wrap the rest of the sauce. So I'm going to have this for lunch today and there'll probably be a bit left over for tomorrow as well. So I'm just heating up some pasta, some wholemeal pasta to have with that for lunch. So yay for leftovers and not having to think when life is a bit crazy with a 5-month-old. So this is the first top-up shop that I've done this month. Hopefully it's the last. I might just need to get a little bit of cow's milk next week maybe. But this all came to $50.30. I got some more spaghetti because we're running low on that. I didn't have as much in the cupboard that I thought I had when I did my monthly shop. So I need to get better at checking my cupboard. So I got some more spaghetti, some cocoa powder. This was optional on paper, not optional in my heart and soul. I'm going to make some tiramisu. I've got an excuse. I bought those 2, I'll show you. I bought the 2 creams at the monthly shop and I'm not going to get to using all of this. So 600 ml is probably what, 450, 500 ml left. I need a cup and a half for some tiramisu. And Ben and I have been loving the tiramisu that you buy from Aldi. So to me, this is using up the cream we've got in the fridge, buying a few extra things, and we're going to make a really yummy dessert. So cocoa powder for the top. I'm going to also use this because I haven't really bought cocoa powder before, but I'm going to use it to make like some cakes and stuff. This was $5 something, which was so crazy to me. I was thinking I'll just get home brand Woolies brand cocoa powder, and only cost a few dollars. I was so wrong. It is 375 grams, but yeah, okay, $5.50. Some mascarpone cream. This was $3 or $4. Had to buy some more of the cannelloni beans. I've got this for a really yummy recipe this month. I had 2 that I bought at the start of the month, but if you saw in my burrito making video, the last video, I had 2 cans of black beans and the ring pull broke on one and I just couldn't open it. I've got to get a new can opener. So that had to end up going in the bin, unfortunately. I just didn't feel like hacking at it and cutting myself or something in the meantime. So I threw it out, bought a second jar of beans because I used one for the burritos. Wow, that was a lot. In short, I had 2 black bean cans for burritos. Couldn't get one open, so I substituted it with like one of the cannelloni in the cupboard. So I was one short for a recipe, bought another one in this top-up shop, $1.50. I got some more dishwashing cleaner. I forgot to get this at the monthly shop. Some more Greek yogurt, some more medium storage bags. I had a feeling we're going to need more, and I should have listened to that and just bought it at the start of the month. So next month I will buy some more. In saying that though, almost all of them I've used actually just to put in pre-wrapped like burritos and scrolls, as you saw in my last video. So I'll actually reuse those bags once I get around to eating all the food. So yeah, needed these for the time being. This is Ben's snack. I think he's already know, he hasn't opened it. He loves the mini Oreos. And they were $2.50 and I thought, why not? So that's for Ben. I needed some more oat milk. I'm going through so much of this because I'm using this in my smoothies where I used to use just normal milk, and I've been really enjoying it. And they say oats is really good for like breastfeeding. So I bought 4 of these. It's all they had left. They were $2 each, which is pretty good. No added sugar, oat milk, and it's a litre or 2 litres, 1 litre. Now this is my favourite rice and we are running low. And I purposely didn't buy it. I waited till this one came on sale. It wasn't on sale when I did my monthly shop, and it was on sale this week for half price. $17.50, and I think you get like 10 times the Woolies points for 5 kilos. So it works out, I think, quick math, $3.50. Correct me if I'm wrong. Which isn't like amazing for rice, but I really like this specific one. Indian grown basmati. I like to cook my rice like pasta in water. I always have, just boiled it. And this comes out so fluffy, like you've done the absorption method on some really nice rice. So it is really light and fluffy. This is like a 3rd bag of it. We love this. So $17.50. And then Ben got into these before I got time to film. But I bought some ladyfinger. Are they called ladyfinger? Yeah, ladyfinger cookies. Oh, you can hear Lola, I have to go do mum duties. Ben's got to, so I'm going to make this tiramisu and I'm so excited. Stay tuned. I'm going to do that tonight, hopefully. So $50.30 for my little top-up shop. Jimmy's pretty happy about it. Hey, Jimmy. No carrots this time. Hi friends, we're making a chicken lentil dal tonight. And I'm hoping it's going to be really quick to make because it's been such a busy day. Don't mind my shirt. I've got drinks spilt on it and everything. Probably some breast milk. It's been a busy day, but let's get this dinner cooked. I've got a lot going on too. I'm going to try and make tiramisu. And how beautiful are these flowers? It was my partner and I's 8-year anniversary yesterday, and he got me some flowers sent during the day, which is really, really nice. So they're going to brighten up this kitchen, hopefully lift my mood because I'm feeling a bit tired, but I'm really looking forward to this dal. I'm going to make a cauliflower rice because I've got a huge, beautiful cauliflower in the fridge that I want to use up. And I love cauliflower rice. And we're going to have some garlic naan with it too. So let's start. I usually decide in the morning what meal I'm going to make that night, but this morning I just didn't have time, so I have been defrosting this chicken for only maybe 2.5, 3 hours in cold water, and it's not fully defrosted, but that's okay. You can cook with chicken thigh that's not fully defrosted. They just say not to, like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is you just don't want to have a frozen whole chicken and put that in the slow cooker. Am I right? Tell me if I'm wrong, but yeah. My understanding is it's okay to cook with partially frozen chicken on the stovetop, and that's what we're going to do. And it's what I've done for years, and no one's got sick, so I'm okay with that. So this is the chicken that I got in my big grocery haul, and I paid $16 a kilo, and it's 1 kilo, almost on the dot, and it's the free range chicken. I like to buy free range when I can. I actually was having a look though last, why am I doing that now? I'll do the onions first. I had a look when I did my last shop at the price difference, and it wasn't enough, the price difference between free range and just RSPCA approved, which in Australia is kind of like the other option at Woolworths, the cheaper option. And it wasn't enough for me to go, like the RSPCA approved wasn't cheaper by much, or enough in my books to go, yeah, look, I'm going to start buying just the RSPCA approved. So I'm sticking with the free range, and it's never done me wrong, so I'm happy to pay a bit extra. So this recipe, which I'll link, calls for 2 onions, and the last batch of onions I got are all quite small, so I'm going to do, 1 onion, and I'm going to do 2 because they're smaller, they're on the smaller sides. So I'm just going to prep the onions, prep the garlic, cut up the chicken, do the cauliflower, cut up the chicken last on this so I can put it in the dishwasher, and then we'll get cooking. I haven't actually looked ahead in the tiramisu recipe. I've never made it before. I'm assuming you're supposed to wait overnight or for a few hours for like the cream and stuff to soak into these biscuits, because these ladyfinger, they're really dry, so I assume it's going to soak in, but even if we have to wait, I'm going to have some tonight because it's been that type of day. I would love a little bit of coffee and something sweet and creamy, so I cannot wait. She's still asleep on bed. She's having a little bit of a nap before bedtime. Well, it is only 6:30, so we'll get her in bed by 8:30. She'll have a little bit of a half an hour nap, and then she'll be up for an hour and a half before going to bed. I love the smell of raw garlic when I'm chopping it up. I've got Jimmy in here watching me cook. It's so sweet. He's my little shadow. Although I think he's in here for reasons other than he loves me. I think he's in here waiting for me to give him some. Here's Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy. Yeah, look, I think he's in here partly because he loves me and he loves to keep an eye on me, but mainly because I'm cooking. But that's okay, I'll take it. All right. Now the recipe calls for 3 cloves of garlic, but I've got 3 and 2 little ones. So I'm going to put, well, 2 big ones and 3 little ones. I'm going to put them all in. And I'll have to remember, I'm going to do my top-up shop for the month, for the fruit and veg tomorrow, or in the coming days actually, because it hasn't quite been a fortnight. And I've got to remember to get some more garlic. I usually buy the one that's from China because it's a lot cheaper, but I was watching a documentary the other day on YouTube while I was nursing my daughter, and it was American, but it was talking about American versus Chinese garlic and how China had kind of taken over a lot of the market, but they said, which doesn't really apply. Well, I'm not sure if it applies here to Australia. I might look that up tonight. But they were saying how you can tell the difference between American and Chinese garlic because, I'll see if I've got it here. Yeah. This is the bottom of the garlic and it's bleached white from China. That's what the documentary said. And that just turns me off a little bit. So I'm going to pay a little bit extra, I think, and get some Australian garlic and support Aussie farmers. But I hadn't really thought about it. So that's going to be my little swap that I do. You'll see me a lot. I like to just prep everything first and put them in little bowls. I'm not doing it just because I'm filming. It's what I actually like to do. I've always done it. And then that way I'm just ready to start cooking. Just focus on one thing at a time because otherwise I dart around the kitchen and I tend to do multiple things at once, or try to, and then I forget about something cooking on the stove or whatnot. Okay, so let's do the huge cauliflower that I got from the fruit and veg shop. This is the huge cauliflower I got. It's only a few dollars. Oh, my hip. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a wash and then grate it up for cauliflower rice. Now it's been about 2 weeks, almost 2 weeks, and it's kept really well in the fridge. I can tell it's starting to get a little bit rubbery. If you did that to a fresh cauliflower, it'd probably not bend as much, maybe start to snap. But even like the leaves are getting really rubbery, but it's still, it's still fine to eat. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let that dry, because for cauliflower rice you don't want it to be wet. I'm just going to leave that there. There's 2 really little ones, so I'm going to do 5. So I'll leave the 2 big ones for tomorrow night. So I'm going to do easy sesame chicken tomorrow night with the chicken thighs that I've defrosted. Yep, that should be good. So I'm just going to thinly slice these up. It's actually a lot easier to cut chicken when it's partly frozen. Once I defrost meat, I like to use it within the 48 hours if I can, or 24 hours ideally. I don't think there's any science behind that, but because I do freeze it the minute I get it from the shop, so it is frozen fresh, but yeah, it's just something I've always done. I probably got that from my mum. Sounds like something she would say. I'm glad I checked the recipe because I almost forgot ginger. What I like to do is I like to buy, because I cook with ginger quite a bit, and I find it doesn't stay fresh very long when I'm just using little bits of the ginger and then the rest go to waste if I buy it fresh and keep it on in the fruit and veg basket with the onions. So what I do is I buy my ginger in bulk from the fruit and veg shop, and I pop it in a Ziploc bag. You can see there is like some ice particles down the bottom, but I've done this for years and I've found that it doesn't affect the ginger quality. So I pop it in there. What I do is I get my piece out that I need. You can see this bit I've already grated and just pop back in. So I just grate it. I don't bother taking off the skin. I don't know about you guys, but I've never noticed the difference between the skin being on and off, especially when you're grating it from frozen, because you're grating it so fine. So keep it all in the freezer. That way, if I need a little bit, I get it out, put it back in, and it can, in my books, it can keep in the freezer for over 6 months. And that's just one less thing I need to worry about when I'm cooking dinners, because I'm cooking with it quite a bit. I know I've always got my ginger, so little tip. Now the recipe calls for 2 centimeters of ginger, but I really like my ginger, so we're going to go a bit more than that. And it grates really easy when it's frozen. Okay. I'm going to pack away the rest of this chicken for tomorrow night. So this is a really cheap meal to make. I had the lentils in the cupboard from, obviously from another dinner that I've done a while ago. I had a look at Woolies when I was just at Woolies. These are about $2.50 full price for the whole 500 gram bag. So I'm going to use 100 grams tonight, so a quarter of this, let's say $1 for your lentils. This is about $10 worth of free range chicken because it was $16 for the whole kilo, and I've used about 3/4 of it. So let's say about $10 for the chicken. The next most expensive thing here is the coconut milk. I like to buy this AM one. It's really, if you have a look at the It's a lot more expensive than like your home brand cheaper options. But if you have a look at the ingredients, which is a tip to do with your coconut milk and coconut cream, you can actually see that it's coconut kernel extract 89% water, which will be 11% water. If you look at your cheaper options, I guarantee you for the coconut milk and the coconut cream, that percentage is a lot lower. So you're paying for what you get. And I also love the AM curry powders, curry paste as well, like the green curry and red curry paste. So I just like this brand. When it's on sale, I stock up. It doesn't come on sale very often, so I've paid full price for this one, but it's definitely worth it. So I've lost my train of thought. $10 for the chicken, $1 of lentils. I think this is about $3 is safe. I think it's a little bit less than that. So let's say $3 for the coconut milk. That's $14, and $2 for around $2 for this cauliflower. So $16 for dinner, and this will give me lunch tomorrow. Ben will take a burrito for lunch that we made. $16 for a really healthy, hearty dinner. I'm not going to include like your ginger and your garlic and whatnot. I'm also using some grain masala, some turmeric, and some chilies. So yeah, so easy. Oh, onions, maybe a few cents. So $16, $17 for dinner tonight. I like it. And this is also a meal, you know, except for the cauliflower, if you're just going to do rice with this, and the recipe actually calls for like some red peppers. So you could use some red peppers that are getting a little bit older. This is something you can make later on in the month. You pull your chicken out of the freezer. You've got your canned coconut milk that's shelf stable. So this is my type of dinner, plus some veg. Let's get cooking. So here I am storing away the big 5 kilo bag of basmati rice. I'm putting a cup aside for dinner tonight and then filling up the big jar that I've got here on the table, which stays in my pantry, easy to grab out when I need it. And then the rest goes in an airtight container that lives in the bottom of my pantry. I'm just finishing up grating all of the cauliflower for the cauliflower rice and putting it in my cast iron pan. I could use the stalks, but I do leave them for Jimmy. He loves some cooked cauliflower. So you'll see me boiling that in a minute on the stovetop as well. So in my cauliflower rice, I like to put salt, pepper, a little bit of butter and olive oil. And then I just cook it down. You've just got to make sure it doesn't burn on the cast iron because it can get really warm. You'll see that the cast iron does darken, but this cauliflower rice did not burn at all. And then if you just taste it every few minutes, it takes about 10 minutes to cook. And then it's a perfect side for any curry. I'm also warming up my daughter's bottle of milk. So everyone's dinner's on the go here. My daughter, Jimmy's cauliflower offcuts are in the pot boiling as well, and then the curry's coming together really nicely. I haven't tasted it yet up until this point. So I do give it a taste, and it is just missing something. I couldn't put my finger on what it was. It didn't taste like there was enough flavour, just in general. So I had to think about what I could do, and I remembered I've got this jar of AM green curry paste in the cupboard. So I put 2 teaspoons of that in, and it was exactly what it was missing. It was so, so yummy. So here's the curry paste. It's my favorite brand of curry paste. I always make sure I've got the green and the red curry in the cupboard. So I'm just plating up my dinner with a little bit of white rice, mostly some cauliflower rice, a little serving of the curry, and then I also warmed up some of the Mission garlic naan breads in the grill below the stovetop here. And it was just such a yummy, comforting dinner. Definitely going to make it again and remember to put in that curry paste to top it off. So this is Wednesday and I've finally gotten around to making this tiramisu that I've been thinking about for the last 3 days. So I've got my mocha pot on here making my espresso. This mocha pot is one of the best things we've bought recently. We got it about 2 months ago and we've been making coffee with it every morning. It's so easy to make coffee. You just grind your coffee beans, pop it in the bottom, put a paper filter in, fill the bottom up with water, and then let it express through to the top. This made 1.25 cups, which was perfect for this recipe, which I'll link down the bottom. And it turned out so nice. So to make the cream, you want to put in 1.5 cups of heavy cream. I just used the rest of the cream that I had in that container and a dash of vanilla essence. And then mix that together so it combines. And then on a medium-high speed, so on a good speed, you want to beat in the 1/4 cup of white sugar until a peak forms. I really thought there'd be more sugar in this recipe, but it's really nice that it isn't, because the dessert itself, the tiramisu, isn't too sweet. Now, once the peak forms, you'll see me fold in a whole tub of mascarpone cream. I'm not sure if it's a cream technically, but I use a 250-gram tub, which the recipe said 220 grams, so I just put the whole tub in. And then you've got the cream. It's as simple as that. And then in a minute, you'll see me assemble the tiramisu. I've put my espresso, so my cup and a half of, well, a cup and a quarter of espresso into this container here. Honestly, a cup and a half probably would have been perfect. I needed a little bit more. And then I put a good dash of coffee liqueur in before dipping in each of these lady fingers one by one into this coffee and liqueur mixture and then lining it into a pan. Now, I was so right. As I thought, these lady fingers absorb so much liquid, which makes sense, and it makes the tiramisu what it is. But yeah, a cup and a half of espresso, just that little bit more would have been perfect, but we may do, and it did end up working out, and it was really yummy, so no complaints. You'll see me as well attempt to shake the cocoa over the first layer of cream, and then by the time we got to the second layer, I remembered that I have a little tea strainer that's like a little colander in my cutlery drawer. So I pulled that out and it worked a treat to shake over the cocoa powder. So that's it. I'll let you watch me assemble this tiramisu that I'll definitely be making again. I hope you can hear the rain in the background while I'm recording this voiceover. We are getting another storm here in Queensland and it's just so relaxing. Anyway, this is what the tiramisu looks like once I cut it open. I should have used something other than a teaspoon to scoop it out with, but it tasted the same. This, hands down, is almost better, I think, than that Aldi tiramisu I was going on about. I'll definitely be making this again. My friends are huge fans of tiramisus also. So yes, simple dessert to make. I'm thinking I'll also whip it up for Christmas. So moving on now, this is the next day, I believe. Yes, the next day. I'm making pizza dough for homemade pizzas this night. The night of the tiramisu, Ben and I, all I wanted to make was that tiramisu, and we decided to have some burritos for dinner. It had been a pretty hectic day, and that cream in the fridge was staring at me. It needed to be used up before it went off. So I made tiramisu, and we had freezer burritos for dinner. So yeah, win-win. So here I am making the pizza dough. It's 4 cups of plain flour, 2 teaspoons of instant yeast, and 2.5 teaspoons of salt. You see me there measuring it out, grinding it into the cup before measuring it out. And then the last dry ingredient you want to add in is 4 teaspoons of white sugar. Mix that all together, and then you want to go in with 4 tablespoons of olive oil and 1 1/3 cups of warm tap water. So you want to knead this dough for about 5 minutes. You'll see how it just slowly forms into a really nice elastic dough the longer that I knead it for. Once your dough is how you want it, so for about 5 minutes, you then want to cover the bowl. So I covered it in some cling wrap to keep the heat in, and put it in a warm spot for 1 to 2 hours or until the dough doubles. And you'll see in a minute that my dough definitely doubled. I left it for 2 hours. So this is what it looks like after 3 hours in a warm room. It's quite a warm day here in Brisbane, so I had the air cons on and I left the door closed with the air cons off in one room, so this could get so this could rise, and it has. So I'm going to pop this in the fridge now, just because it's only 2:30 and we're not going to have dinner until 6 or 7, so I don't want this to overproof. So I'll pop it in the fridge now, and then about half an hour before I want to work with it again, I'm going to pop it on the bench so that it can get back to room temperature before kneading it and let it rise for the second time. The second rise is only 1 hour. So it's 2:30 now. I'll put this back in the fridge until 4. Let it sit on the bench until 4:30, and then I will knead it and let it rise till 5:30 and get it in the oven by 6 for dinner. That's the plan. Let's see what happens. I'm going to let it warm back up again before kneading it and letting it rest. These are the rest of the mushrooms from the mushrooms I got a week and a half ago. So they're going to be really nice on these pizzas. This pizza's a bit of a throw together pizza with just odd ends that we've got in the fridge that we need to use. I'm also going to roast some pumpkin and cook some chicken and bacon. So I thought we could have chicken and bacon pizzas. And sometimes, you know, simpler is better with pizza. I'm good at over topping my pizzas, so it's going to be nice to keep it nice and simple. So I'm just going to go ahead now and prep this butternut pumpkin to chop up so I can get it in the oven to roast. I had this on, pumpkins are so cheap at the moment, and I had this on the pizzas that we made last month, and it was just so good. And I just love pumpkins, so my partner not so much, so I'll probably be the only one that will have pumpkin on my pizza. Just trying to move quickly while my daughter is happy watching me and playing. You never know how much time you're going to get as a mum, as I'm sure a lot of my viewers, a lot of you guys are familiar. Basic ingredients, but that is okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just remove the skin because this is getting really old, just so it's nice and tender on the pizzas. What I'm going to do is a little trick that I've learned, and that is to sweat the eggplant. So I'm going to pop the eggplant, and it just gets the moisture out of it, which I think is going to be good for the pizza. So let's pop the eggplant in here, and you just put a good amount of salt on top of it, and what it does is it draws out the water in the eggplant. Also going to chili out. This is a throw together pizza. Now the bacon. What am I missing? What do I have that I could? Not much else. It's okay. Let's get this bacon and then the chicken. So I've let the dough warm up again after being in the fridge, and then I'm just going to roll it out and portion it into 3 balls, which is going to form the 3 pizza bases. And then you want to let it rest for an hour somewhere warm.
I'm just going to chop up some dried tomato. That's okay. This is all going to get cooked anyway. I was going to say I put raw bacon on this chopping board, but it's all going to get cooked in the oven, so I'm not worried. If it was chicken, I would be a bit worried, but it's not.
So what I did here was use the oil that was left in the jar of the sun-dried tomatoes to cook the chicken in, and it turned out really, really nice. So I'm definitely going to do this again in the future. Just such a great way to not waste this oil that I would usually just throw out when the jar is empty. I preheated my oven to 270 degrees, which is the max my oven will go to. That was before I started topping my pizza. So you want to have your oven as high as it can go, and you bake your pizzas for 10 minutes, turning them at 4 minutes and checking them at 8. This is the third time I've made these pizzas, and 10 minutes is the perfect time for a really nice crunchy crust. What I like to do as well is, because I'm making rectangular pizzas, is just to transfer them onto my chopping board, chop them on there, and then we just eat them off the chopping board and make it really nice and easy. So I've just come back from my local fruit and veg shop with my top-up fruit and veg haul. So if you haven't seen my first video, go back to my very first video on this channel and you will see my monthly grocery haul. So I shop one time a month from Woolworths, which includes everything that I need for the month except fresh produce, so fresh fruit and veg. I choose to shop exclusively at my local fruit and veg shop, just because it is a lot cheaper. So because I do one big shop a month at Woolworths, I like to do 2 fruit and veg shops during the month. So one at the start of the month and one approximately midway through. Now we're day 10 or 11 of the month, so this is a little bit early, but I've got a lot on this weekend, so I thought I'll just get it done. It's Friday today, I'll get it done, and that way I don't need to worry about having my fruit and veg for next month. So I'm going to show you what I got. I'm having a look at my receipt because there's a few things here I'm not going to include. I did get my $1 samosa from this fruit and veg shop. They make fresh samosas and they've always got them there, and they're $1 each and they're so good. So I always get one as my little treat for getting the groceries done. So that was $1, so I'm going to take $1 off. And then I also got 3 litres of milk. It wasn't actually marked as to how much it was, so I thought I'll just get it, save me going to Woolworths. And it was $6.29, so quite expensive for 3 litres. I usually just buy the Woolies brand milk, but that's okay, so I'm going to take that off. So my total was $36.95. If I take off the milk and the samosa, this was $29 of fruit and veg, which is going to last my partner and I 2.5 weeks. So I'm really happy with this. If I was to get the same amount of vegetables and fruit from Woolworths, it probably would cost me double, if not triple that. My budget for the month for my fruit and veg is $100. I only spent $40 at the start of the month, and then now $29, 10 or 11 days later. So what's that? $69 I've spent so far on fruit and veg. I have money to spare, which is great because there are odds and ends that I do go to Woolies for during the month. So I'm not complaining at all. Sorry, I just had to go and check what my golden retriever Jimmy was barking at. He doesn't usually bark. Anyway, what I was saying was this should get us through now for fruit and veg for the rest of the month. I've got a few things in my fridge that I'll show you in a minute, what I've got, and then I'll show you this. Okay, so the first thing was 2 small, these are KP mangoes. I think that stands for something Pride mangoes. I'm not sure, I'll have to look it up. But yes, I've got 2 mangoes. They're not very big, but they smell really nice, and they're ripe and ready to go. So we're gonna have these tonight, if not tomorrow. So they were 99 cents each, so $2. And then I've got my bag of spinach, which was $2.99. I got one of these bags the start of the month, and I've eaten it all through my smoothies. So this is my smoothies spinach. Now I've got 2 bags of carrots. They feel really nice and fresh. These were only 88 cents each, so $1.80 for the 2 packets of carrots. I didn't get enough at the start of the month. Jimmy's gone without a carrot. Did you hear the word carrot, Jimmy? Do you want a carrot? Sit. Good boy. Off you go. So I made sure to buy 2 because I know I've got carrot in. I've got carrot in quite a few recipes for the rest of the month, and then Jimmy won't go without. So $1.80 for carrots. Now I got a bag of lemons here. I didn't need lemons, but they look so good, and they were only, I think, $3. Yeah, $3 for the bag. There's 5 in here. They just look really nice and juicy and fresh. So these will last me well into next month. Now I've got a Jack pumpkin. I've still got half a butternut pumpkin left, but that won't be enough. So I got a little Jack pumpkin, and this was $1.49, so $3.65. I've got a Jack pumpkin growing in our garden, in our veggie patch, our volunteer veggie patch, I like to call it, because we didn't plant anything. There's just been some really nice tomatoes. We've had shallots, and now a huge pumpkin vine is growing, a pumpkin plant. It's growing really well. There's one pumpkin about the size of this on it. There's been lots of little flowers and little pumpkins start, but they haven't progressed. They've all died off, but we've got one big pumpkin growing, and what looks like a new one about this big, so it's taken off and it's survived the little pumpkin stage of the flower, and it looks like it's going to, fingers crossed, make it as well. So hopefully in a few weeks' time I can show you the pumpkin we got, and I'm going to make sure I savor every bit of that pumpkin and probably do something with the seeds as well. So yeah, this pumpkin was $3.65. Now I got some red capsicums, 3 red capsicums. These, I love the shape of these. Really nice and fresh, and I paid $4.99 a kilo. So these were $4.52. And these are going to be used up mainly in one of my recipes for the rest of the month. So stay tuned to see what I make with them. I was running out of celery. I personally don't like to eat celery raw, but I do put it in any stocks or stews that I do. And Jimmy likes it as well. So what I do is I buy it maybe once every 2 or 3 months, and I chop it up and put it in a Ziploc bag and store it in the freezer again, because I'm not eating it fresh, so I don't need it to be fresh. And then I just get it out whenever I need it, and Jimmy loves some cold celery as well. This cost me $2. The celery cost me $2. Now the eggplant was only $1.50 a kilo. So this was 82 cents for this really nice fresh eggplant. I've talked about the milk, which was $6.30, and I also got some zucchinis for 99 cents a kilo, and I got exactly a kilo. So this was $1 worth of zucchinis. I don't know why, I've never seen this before. The little top on them, where they connect to the stalk and the vine of the plant, is off. looks like they've fallen off. It doesn't look like they've been cut off. So I wonder why, but 4 zucchinis for $1. 25 cents each. You can't get much better than that. Now I'm not sure how great this buy was, but 99 cents for a kilo bag of onions. I didn't see that there's one sprouting there and they don't look super fresh. So I'm going to try and use these up as soon as I can. If not, what I'd like to do as well is, I've done it once before in like a big bulk lot, but I bought a big like 5 kilo bag of onions when they were on special at this fruit and veg shop. And I chopped them all up, diced them all up and put them in a big Ziploc bag. And that was so handy to have in the freezer, ready for when I cooked. I did that when I was pregnant with my daughter, just to take off a little bit of time when I do the cooking at night. Don't have to chop onions, and I use onions almost every night. So they didn't last long in the freezer, but it was really, really handy to have. It did take a bit of prep work, but yeah, I'll do that with these if I don't get around to eating them and if they're not looking the freshest. And then lastly, I haven't seen this before at the shops, but this is a bag of cherry tomatoes. I've only ever seen them in like the pre-packaged plastic containers. These were $2.99 a kilo, so these cost me $2.50, which is crazy given that usually like the little containers at Woolies are $2.50 if not more. So I've got a whole bag here, so this is just under a kilo of cherry tomatoes. They look really nice and fresh. I know I've just said in one of my last videos that our cherry tomato bush was really great and produced a lot, but we've used them all up now. So these are some really nice, I hope you can see that, really nice cherry tomatoes. I've got a whole bag here. I've only got like some things I'm gonna make, like burgers with salad and salad sandwiches. So I'm gonna try and think up something else to make with these, but I'm sure I won't have a problem with that. Cherry tomatoes are a staple in our household. But they're nice and fresh, so hopefully they last a while in the fridge. So that's everything. $29 at my local fruit and veg. I really, really encourage any of you out there who are watching my videos to see if you've got a local fruit and veg shop and have a look and see if their prices are better than Coles and Woolies. It's likely they are. And if they're anything like the fruit and veg shop that we've got locally here, it's a lot cheaper. Sure, the produce isn't always super, super fresh, but we've never had a problem. We pick and choose. If there are some things, like for example today, I wanted to get some kale for a pasta we're doing, but also for my daily smoothies, I wanted to buy at least 3 bunches of kale. And they had kale for 99 cents a bunch, but it wasn't super fresh. The leaves are starting to go yellow. So I decided against buying it. I asked if they had any fresher produce, but they didn't. So that's okay. Might try and go back next week to have a look. If not, I'll see what the price is at Woolies and buy it if it's reasonable, but they didn't have that. They also didn't have any beans today at the fruit and veg shop. So I wanted to buy some beans. I didn't have it, so I've left it. Again, I'll have a look when I go back next week. So sure, it doesn't have everything, which costs me a little bit of time in the end if I need to go somewhere else or cook something different, but it's well worth it for me and my family. $29 fruit and veg for the rest of the month. I'm going to show you now what I've got left in the fridge in our little fruit and veg crispers that I'm going to be working with as well for the rest of the month. Okay, so here is my fridge, and yes, I'm looking at you, tiramisu. That's almost my doing there. I've eaten almost half of the tiramisu. My partner Ben has not been eating it because I've been having some for dessert, and he doesn't want to have coffee before he goes to bed, but that's his loss because it is delicious. So in here, I've got some lemons that are looking a bit sad. I'll cut them open tonight and see how they are. I've got some broccoli that's still kept really fresh in this bag. I can't believe it. This is like 3 weeks in this bag and it's still really fresh. And then I've just got some apples and a little bit of lettuce there. And then I've got Lola on me, so I'm going to use my foot here. In the bottom drawer, I've got some sweet potato, a little bit of, where's my pointer finger? I've got some sweet potato. I've got a little bit of butternut pumpkin that I'm going to use up, a little bit of eggplant. That's the leek and the parsnip from my first video. Sad to say I haven't used it. I'm probably not going to. I had good intentions, but that's probably going to have to go in the bin, unfortunately. It's been almost 2 months of that being in the fridge. And then I've got a whole bag here of white potatoes, which I'm going to use tonight. And that's all. So I'm really happy with that. Actually, I'll take you over here. Here's Jenny watching me. So up here, oh, I completely forgot to get garlic. That's another thing. Just on the garlic, I mentioned earlier in this video, I believe it was, when I was making a dinner, that I'm out of garlic and I really want to start buying Australian garlic. The fruit and veg shop only had the garlic from China in the big bags and it was really reasonably priced, but I thought, no, I'm going to see where else I can buy Australian garlic from. So I'm going to have a look into that. I'm going to have a look into that tonight and see where I could potentially get Australian garlic from. Even if I buy it in bulk, what I like to do is get my food processor out, process the garlic, chop it up really fine. It's a half a day's job. And then I scoop it out with a tablespoon and pop it on parchment paper, pop it in the freezer, freeze it in so it's in little discs of chopped up garlic. And then when I need it, I just pop it straight from the freezer into my dish. So I'm going to see if I can do that and I'll let you know. I was showing you up here, I've just got 3 brown onions to use and that's it. So tonight's dinner, I'm going to make a Japanese curry with some rice and also some fried pork. I'm really excited. I've been defrosting my pork, which hasn't taken very long. It's just the Woolies pork sizzle steak. I got 2 for $15 and I'm just going to use 1 packet of it tonight. If it's really good, I might make the same recipe next month and I already have the pork for it. It seems really straightforward. This is just kind of something I'm making up. So this is the golden curry. It's quite cheap from Woolworths and it has the 3-step instructions on the back. So stir fry meat and vegetables with oil in a large skillet on medium heat for 5 minutes. I'm not going to do any meat because I'm going to do the fried pork on top, and it suggests onion, carrot and potato, so that's what I've got here. And the second step is to add water and bring to the boil. Reduce heat and simmer for 15 minutes until the vegetables are tender. Turn the heat off, break the golden curry into pieces and add it to the skillet and simmer for 5 minutes. It doesn't say how much water. Oh here, water, 540 mils. So I'll put I'll just put 2 cups in. Really straightforward. And I think we use all 1 box of curry. So I'm going to make this and then I'm going to coat the pork in some egg and some panko crumbs and then fry it in olive oil. It says here 150 grams of potatoes and it says all ingredients are desirably chopped. I feel like the last time I had this, it's actually quite thick pieces of potato. So I'm just going to do that size. Okay, carrot again. I feel like I've seen this in quite chunky bits. So I'm just going to cut it up like this. to just halved the onions and then cut them into thirds. I'm going to leave it at that for the onion, one little onion. Okay, so I'm going to put some olive oil on this and then cook it. Okay, while that's cooking, I'm going to fill up our olive oil. We don't actually have as much olive oil as I thought we had, but this should get us through until next month's grocery shop. We go through quite a bit of olive oil in this house, which I'm not concerned about. It's just, I like to buy it in these big, like 4 or 5 litre bottles. They're not coming on sale though, as often as I would like. I think I might have paid full price for this one, and it was just one of the cheaper options. Still being extra virgin olive oil. I watched a documentary the other day about olive oil, and the reason why you want to get extra virgin is you are guaranteed it's the same quality of olive oil, whereas if it's not extra virgin, it can be mixed and there can be fillers in it. I think that's what I remember from the documentary. Maybe not fillers, but there's something about it that's less preferable. Okay, so I'm going to have to be quite frugal with my olive oil for the rest of the month. I shouldn't use too much tonight. Pan shallow frying. And I just have this, you'll see me use this one quite a bit. I got this from Woolies, just a refillable spray bottle for olive oil. The last one I had of this brand, I think it's Dahl, is it? Yeah, Dahl brand. The last one I had, I bought when I moved out of home, probably 7 or 8 years ago. And it lasted me until just recently when I bought this new one when we moved into this house. So it lasted me 7 years, which is really impressive. The sprayer, I'm using it multiple times a day. The sprayer lasted 7 years on it, so I thought I'll buy the same brand. It changed a little bit, but hopefully it's the same quality. I really appreciate when items I buy last, and I go back to buying the same brand if I can, if whatever I've bought has lasted me. I'm all about spending the money once on things rather than buying a cheaper option and needing to replace it. Okay, I'll leave that for tonight. So this was my last meal of the week that I made. It turned out so nice. It was so nice to do like a takeaway style meal for dinner. It was my first time frying pork at home. So we'll definitely be cooking this one again in the next few months. I just want to say thank you so much if you're still watching this video and you've made it this far. As a new YouTuber, it means that every subscriber really means the world. And I'll see you next week for week 3 of dinners. Bye for now.